it's easy to become furious with the West. The West is in a very, very bad place right now. I think that is clearly obvious. It's in a really bad place, and it's lies that have made it like this. Jussie Smollett just got sentenced. You all remember Jussie Smollett, the actor who pretended that he got attacked by Trump-loving, MAGA hat-wearing people in the great red state of Chicago, which was insane. And he was convicted of fooling the police, wasting the police's time. And he was just sentenced to 5 months behind bars. I think it's part of his 30 months of probation, but he has to go to jail for 5 months, which, a lot of people say, well, it should have been worse and all that, but that's really bad. It's bad to be sent to jail for 5 months. This guy's an actor. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't do anything absolutely terrible, but but the judge just ripped into him. Here's just a little bit of what the judge said.
Let me tell you, Mr. Smollett, I know that there is nothing that I will do here today that can come close to the damage you've already done to your own life. You've turned your life upside down by your misconduct and shenanigans. You've destroyed your life as you knew it, and there's nothing that any sentencing judge could do to you that can compare to the damage you've already caused to yourself.
So what's fascinating about this is every one of these fake hate crimes, because they said he attacked him for being gay and being black, every one of these fake hate crimes is a statement that everything we've been told about this country is a lie. If this country were really as systemically racist, as thoroughly racist, if it were, as the New York Times tells us, if it had racism in its DNA, you wouldn't have to make this stuff up. Right? There's so many frauds because there's not enough racism to go around. This may be the least racist country on earth. And that's a lie that weakens us. And all the people who are pushing it and are now trying to be tough, especially on the left, are now trying to talk tough about Putin. They weakened this country by telling that lie. They weakened the devotion that people feel toward the country, the willingness to stand up for its values, the willingness to compromise with people they disagree with to preserve its values. And what's infuriating is this is Smollett's reaction. Smollett starts yelling after the judge sentences him. This is what he says.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
I am not suicidal.
Stop laughing about black.
I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
So all about this is like, who is going to bother to kill him? He thinks they're going to kill him to silence him, to show that whatever he was saying, what is he talking about? The self-aggrandizing. Well, he's an actor, so we shouldn't be surprised that he's self-aggrandizing. But it's not only does he get caught pretending that this country is more racist than it is and trying to make himself the star of that show. But he's now going to tell us that he's in some kind of danger. I'm not suicidal. Who cares? Who cares about this guy? He's like an actor. It's sad because he actually is a talented guy. But still, this is what we're dealing with. People who are so immersed in this lie that he actually can't get out of it. He probably believes now that he's innocent in some level. And this is the thing. All of these lies weaken our country. All of these lies make us a weak opponent to a guy like Vladimir Putin. Transgenderism, excellent point. I'm sympathetic to individuals who feel out of keeping with their body, whether they think they're too thin or too fat, or they think they're the wrong sex in some way. It's not that I hate people like that. I really reject the left's dichotomy that if I don't accept their philosophy, I'm hateful. That if I don't say that they are actually women when they put on a dress and a string of pearls, that I'm somehow hateful toward them. That's absurd. That is absurd. However, transgenderism can also be an induced psychosis, especially among children and especially among young girls, because young girls are very, very impressionable, more than young boys, or at least in different ways than young boys. And, when you lie about these things, you damage the country because you are basically insisting that we all join the lie with you. The New York Times ran a piece. Unbelievable. Who shall be allowed to transition? This butchering of children is an atrocity. And so when people say, oh, well, at least Putin isn't doing that, it doesn't change Putin from being evil. It doesn't change him from being the dictator that he is. It doesn't change him from being the dangerous felon that he is on the world stage. But it does kind of give these people some kind of credence. So here's this New York Times piece. Gender-affirming healthcare, which is their word for gender-denying procedures. Gender-affirming healthcare saves lives. It's clear. A 2018 literature review by Cornell University concluded that 93% of studies found that transition improved transgender people's health outcomes, while the remaining 7% found mixed or null results. Not a single study in the review concluded negative impact. That's just that Cornell University, Nathaniel Blake at the Federalist answers, he says like this seems dispositive, but I took a closer look at the studies, and found a methodological mess. Many of the studies had serious flaws, beginning with small sample sizes. Of the 50 relevant papers identified by the project, only 5 studies, 10%, had more than 300 subjects, while 26 studies had fewer than 100. 17 studies had 50 or fewer subjects. And of course, the place that put out the study was run by an LGBT scholar who cited it in his own New York Times piece on transgenderism a few years ago. It was a lie. What the guy was writing was absolutely ridiculous. So now in Florida, they want to pass a bill, and they have passed a bill that says classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. And basically, it goes on to say that they have to encourage children who are troubled to talk to their parents. Now, let me be absolutely clear about this. There is no reason on this earth for you to talk to a child who is not yours about his sexuality when he is in 3rd grade or she is in 3rd grade. There's absolutely no reason. If you're doing that, you're a creep. That's another thing you should know about yourself. If you are talking to a child about their sexuality when they're in 3rd grade and you are not their parent and you have not consulted with their parent, you are a creep. So the left, with their incredible talent with language, they do have a real talent for this. They call it the Don't Say Gay bill, right? And then the reporters echo that. So here's DeSantis in conflict with a reporter who calls it the Don't Say Gay bill. This is cut 17.
Amendment on 7 parental rights and education, what critics call the Don't Say Gay bill, is on the Senate floor.
Does it say that in the bill?
I know that you support.
Does it say that in the bill?
I'm
asking you to tell me what's in the bill, because you are pushing false narratives. It doesn't matter what critics say.
Hold on. It says it bans classroom instruction on sexual identity and gender orientation.
For who?
For
grades pre-K through 3, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And the idea that you wouldn't be honest about that and tell people what it actually says, it's why people don't trust people like you, because you peddle false narratives. And so we disabuse you of those narratives. And we're going to make sure that parents are able to send their kid to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected into their school curriculum.
And what I'm saying about this is, obviously we all know this. How long have we been talking about narrative, and how long have we been talking about our corrupt press? But it weakens the country. It means when the same people come on and say Putin is evil, people go like, oh yeah, well he's not, yeah, I know you, I don't trust you. You're the same guy who told me that this is a Don't Say Gay bill. It completely weakens the country. Just tell the story. Just tell the truth. It is so important. This is the thing that if we come out of this COVID thing with nothing else, it should be to elect people who tell the truth and to fire people who don't tell the truth. And I'm not talking about political lies. I understand politicians lie and they, say things that they try and make themselves look better than they are. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about essential information. When you have a guy like Tony Fauci basically lying about where the pandemic came from, that he should be gone. He should be gone. We have to do this, whether we're on the right or left. If the problem with the left is that their ideas have failed. The Soviet Union fell because leftism failed. Socialism fails everywhere they try it. They have to lie. They have to lie, and they have to shut you up for telling the truth. That weakens the country, and voters on the left have got to understand this. They have got to start to come back into the mainstream. I'm not afraid of an argument between liberals and between conservatives and liberals. I'm not afraid of that argument. Sometimes I may even side with the liberals from time to time. That's not what I'm afraid of. What I'm afraid of is this empire of lies that is weakening us in the face of genuine evil out in the world. It makes the West weak. And I reject this idea that you're hateful if you reject it. I believe that the men and women's marriages, the mother and father, come first. I believe that's the center of human civilization. I don't have to hate people who don't live that way. I don't have to hate people who are troubled. I don't have to hate people who are think they're in the wrong body. I'm just not going to lie about their situation. I don't care how many social media platforms they knock me off. I'm not going to do it. And social media platforms should not be doing it, because that also makes the country weaker, right? It's really interesting to me that I get these letters from women who say, I took your advice and now I'm happier. And then I pick up the New York Times almost every day, and there's an editorial, an op-ed in there by a woman who says, I'm living a terrible life and it's your fault. My life sucks and it's because you don't accept me as I am. My thought is like, maybe you should be listening to my show. Maybe you should maybe it's your fault your life sucks. Maybe it's because you listened to the New York Times. Listen, we need good values here and all this stuff, and we need to fight this fight here. But in fighting that fight, we cannot give up on this idea of freedom. And the reason we can't give up on this idea of freedom is because there's nothing else. We can't give up on this idea of morality, because if we do, we will find ourselves in bed with guys like Putin. I'm really upset about the right in this case. I'm really upset about conservatives basically covering up for this guy and saying, this kind of appeal of the strong man. I don't want any strong men. I want like little guys, executives. I want executives running my country. Every now and again, maybe God throws up a judge, like an Abraham Lincoln, a George Washington. But mostly I just want executives managing the country and making sure that individuals can remain free and do the things that we've done. The left has undermined our country at every turn with their lies. And it is those lies that gives Putin strength on the world stage and in the media with those people who have been alienated from the simple truth by all of the empire, the avalanche of lies. If you like great content, and who doesn't like great content, like and subscribe to the Andrew Klavan Podcast.